All right, so let's talk about anti-aging. Let's talk about that today. After all, what can AI do for us in the near future? Hopefully, AI can do a whole bunch of things for us. Hopefully, it can help us stay younger, fit, young and fit, put that in one category. Uh, Happy and abundant, that could be another category. And of course, rich, right? But if we enter a world where it's a world of abundance, maybe rich isn't even important as long as everything else works. So let's talk about that. So you wait 31 days to see your doctor. You get 18 minutes in the room. A study and studies show 16 of those minutes, the doctor is basically just looking at a screen or a clipboard, writing and checking things off, updating a record, or filling out your profile. You leave with a printout of your blood work that says within normal range next to everything and no idea what any of it means. Yeah, have you guys ever got your blood work done? I've done an entire blood work I had to for stem cells. And there's so much information there, and then they don't really tell you a whole lot. At the stem cell place, they do a lot more, but your typical general doctor, I mean, honestly, you can just upload this. Well, we're going to get into that. So, meanwhile, an AI platform just analyzed 55 biomarkers from blood tests you ordered yourself, calculated your biological age, the age your cells are actually performing at, and handed you a personalized action plan for $16, $20 a month. The gap is what this episode is about. So, longevity medicine used to be for people with serious money. Executive health programs at places like Fountain Life of Human Longevity. If you guys know what Fountain Life is, I believe that was a startup by Peter Diamandis and Anthony Tony Robbins. I think they're owners in it, and it's pretty interesting. You can go look at it up, but they talk about it and they always pitch it on their podcast, the podcast that they do called Moonshots, and it sounds really interesting. So longevity costs between 5 and 25,000 a year. You'd fly in, spend 2 days getting scanned and tested, and leave with a detailed biological blueprint. The results were genuinely powerful and completely out of reach for most people. Yes, so basically at Fountain Youth, from what they say is they do this full program. It's about $25,000. They have different places you can go. For example, in Texas is one of them, and they upload or they create, I think it's like 20 gigabytes of data based on you and every test that they can possibly come up with. And they look for anything. I mean, it sounds amazing. I'd like to do it myself, but I think for most people, the average person, just dishing up 25K for a test is, it's a lot of money for most people. Um, but it has, they say, 4% of people that go and do it, it detects things like cancer and brain tumors that nobody knew they had, and doctors didn't. None of the tests found out. Could be a life changer in that, basically, along those lines. So, yeah, that's changing fast. So, Inside Tracker was founded by researchers from Harvard, MIT, and Tufts specifically to democratize this. For $149 a year, you upload the blood work you already have, and they run it through their AI, which compares your markers against optimal ranges for your age and sex, not just the clinical normal cutoffs. Cyphux offers a $16 a month membership with an at home testing covering 17 biomarkers. Apps like Superpower track 100 plus markers and build AI protocols from the data. The price gap just collapsed. That data that used to cost 25,000 now costs less than a streaming subscription. Now, I haven't gone to Fountain Youth to see all the tests that they do, so I'm sure it's more than just a blood test. I hope it is. I hope it's, allergy tests. I hope it's like breath tests. I hope they do a whole lot of things. Because if not, then yeah, you might as well just go get a blood test done and upload it to one of these apps. But this is where the world is going. Okay, so that was the page that we were supposed to be looking at. I need AI to do this for me. Um, yeah, 31 days, all this and that. 16, the data that costs 25 now costs less than a Netflix subscription. So instead of having to go to these long clinics, you can just basically do it yourself. And I've been predicting that eventually there'll be an AI medical robot in every house that can do like basic things like clean wounds, stitches, um, you know, prescribe anti-inflammatories or antibiotics for ear infections. A lot of these things you shouldn't have to go to the hospital for. Basic stuff. So let's see. Let's move on. So here's the thing most people don't know. Your calendar age is just a number. Your biological age, based on epigenetic markers, blood work, patterns, and psychological data, is what actually determines how your body is performing right now. Epigenetic clocks like GrimAge and Dunedin Pace analyze DNA methylation patterns across thousands of sites. If I pronounce these wrong, I apologize, because actually some of this stuff I've never even heard of. They predict not just how old your cells are, but your risk for metabolic syndrome, cognitive decline, and mortality. These tests now reach 96 to 98% accuracy on blood samples. Wow, that's pretty incredible. Very incredible. It's almost like you want to get all these things done, but at the same time, it's like you're afraid that maybe they'll find something. A lot of people believe that if you just ignore it and you just think positively, you'll be fine. Especially, who knows, if we're living in a simulation, maybe it does work that way. So Dunedin pace specifically measures the pace of aging, not just your current biological age, but how fast you're getting there. A score of 0.08 means you're aging 20% slower than average. A score of 1.2 means you're aging 20% faster. A randomized clinical trial showed that an 8-week diet and lifestyle intervention moved biological age by 3.23 years in the right direction. That's pretty cool. That sounds very close to longevity escape velocity, right? If you can unwind more years than it actually takes to do it, then you are actually in the longevity escape velocity, which is where many experts believe we will be in about 5 to 7 years. So 3 years, 8 weeks. Bloodwork AI takes the standard panel your doctor ordered, the one sitting as a PDF in your email, and maps every marker against optimal ranges, not just normal ones. Normal means you're not sick. Optimal means you're actually performing very well. This is really important stuff, and I want to take this kind of stuff more serious. I'm 53 years old, and I originally started this channel to focus on kind of anti-aging, health, because I practice a lot of these things. I do peptides, stem cells. I've done stem cells to heal my injuries. I do a lot of elimination in my diet. I now, completely try to, I completely eliminate gluten, 99% of dairy. I try to stay away from a lot of grains that I've learned can cause me actually irritation. One of them is oats, which I've learned really caused me a lot of stomach problems. And I've cut out mostly corn as much as possible, because corn is like a genetically modified vegetable that's in just everything, right? We know about that. They make everything out of corn. They make sugars and syrups and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I try to stay away from seed oils, so that's mostly packaged canned things, and try to eat fresh. Fish guy comes straight to my doorstep once a week, delivers, and so does the vegetable guy. I live here in Costa Rica, and I'm constantly looking at these kind of things, and I'm looking at what kind of fruits and things, and I'm physically active. I work out almost every day. I try to surf at least 3 to 4 times. I practice a little bit of jiu-jitsu with my son. And now I'm, really taking on the AI thing, because I want to be on top of it. The reason why I really did this channel is because I needed some sort of incentive to keep me on top of it, keep my thumb on the pulse. And I figured, why not share it with you guys, share it with everybody that wants to follow along, because this is the future. All right, so let's move on. And I'll stop monologuing for a minute. So I want to be clear about something. AI health tools flag patterns. They do not diagnose. They do not treat. They are not a replacement for a physician. Well, you know, to some degree they are. To some degree, AI does replace a lot of things, and maybe it's not perfect yet, but it's going to get better and better and better. Eventually, I think the physician's only job is going to be bedside manner because it will do nothing better than AI when it comes to actual science and administration and diagnostics. And if something is actually wrong, you need a real doctor. Maybe the real doctors in the future will just be administering AI, but it's going to be more about the psychological, like I said, the bedside manner, the human connection, because that is important. We are humans. We need that. Um, I don't know if you've ever sat in a massage chair, even the best massage chairs in the world, compared to an amazing masseuse. There's some sort of there's some form of energy that gets passed from human to human that I don't think we quite understand, and it just doesn't even hold a candle to it. Kind of like us, if there's sex robots one day, like I just don't think that that'll really hold a candle to somebody you have a connection with, that you truly have feelings for, and you feel the warmth, the heat, the energy, all that kind of stuff. So what they do is they surface the gaps. We're back on the AI thing here. Biomarkers your doctor mentioned briefly because they were technically normal, but nowhere near optimal. The pace of aging score that says you're trending in the wrong direction before anything shows up clinically. So it's true the human body is really good at hiding things. So you can have things long before it shows up in any form. You can think you're completely healthy, and then all of a sudden, boom, it hits you. Think of it as a second opinion from something that has read every published study on that specific marker and has no time pressure, no patient backlog, and no incentive to move you through the door quickly, and hopefully no incentive to subscribe you some garbage because they get a kickback, right? That's why I think there's going to be, eventually there's going to be like, how we have like first aid kits at home. It's going to be AI medical robot kits that are open source. Eventually, I think that'll be the key, right? Open source, if it's good, if it's amazing, I think I would trust that before some big corporation that has incentives. The limitation is that AI can tell you what the data says. It cannot tell you what's causing it, and it cannot make clinical decisions. Well, I'm sure it can tell you what's causing it if it interviews you. Use it to walk into your doctor's appointment better prepared, not to skip the appointment. So when you talk to all these AIs and this and that, they're always doing these disclaimers and things, because we live in a world where if you talk to somebody who isn't a licensed professional, they have to give you that surface, answer, especially ChatGPT. It's the worst. It doesn't want to give you the answer because, it's like, I'm not a doctor. And it's like, you kind of are. You have all the information on the internet that no doctor can memorize. You're better than a doctor. But of course, it is up for debate. But, there's been so many stories of people that have literally fixed their problem by basically doing deep research on AI that the doctors they go to, the general practitioners, just kind of don't know. Oh, I don't know. You gotta, when they don't know, they don't know. And they just kind of accept it that way. Anyways, let's keep moving on to the next portion. Back to the original one that I would have. Look at how the words are overlapping the box. So AI is not perfect. I have Claude kind of help me generate topics, and then it creates images that I can use kind of like that. Not perfect, and I just haven't really taken the time to refine it perfectly. I just want to put out content, get this started. So upload your last blood work. If you've had a standard panel in the last 12 months, go to Cyfix. Well, I don't know. That's just what I was recommended here. Uploading for analysis is free. Okay, well, if it's free, great. Okay, uploading is free, but I'm sure you got to pay for the result. Inside Tracker's upload membership is $149 a year. Give it 5 minutes and see what it tells you that your doctor's printout didn't. 2, get your biological age baseline. Human Longevity has a new mobile app. Inside Tracker calculates their inner age metric from blood work. The number you get back is just a starting point. The value is having a baseline so you can track which direction you're moving over time. Look, I don't have any incentive to talk about any of these. I'm going to do some research on these apps. I was even thinking about maybe developing my own app because I was doing a lot of research with AI, trying to come up with some ideas for digital products. And it keeps, in the anti-aging, it keeps coming back to that. You know, it keeps coming back to some form of like blood marker, you know, analyzer or whatever, something like that. And 3, use AI to decode what you were already told. Upload your blood work PDF to Claude. Ask it to explain every marker in plain language. Flag anything near the boundaries of optimal and suggest 3 evidence-based lifestyle changes that would move the numbers. It will do this in under 2 minutes. Pretty amazing. So, you know, a lot of these apps and stuff, they're charging you for information that's already out there. And a lot of times you can get a better result by just uploading to an LLM that's willing to give you answers. You know, like I said, ChatGPT is the worst. They will try to they'll try to not give you the information you want. They'll try to tell you they can't do this and you should go talk to your doctor and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, you know what? Shut the F up. It's like, you have the info, give it to me. I understand the risk. And then you can jailbreak these kind of things by saying that this is a fictitious person and I'm, you know, writing a story on a person that has these problems and this is a fictitious blood work. So, you know, for the purpose of entertainment, what do we see? But if you say this is mine, all of a sudden you're in a gray area, right? I think people just want the information, you know, and they don't want to be gaslit and they don't want to be, you know, I just think people are just like, come on, like, I know if the information's there, don't tell me I got to go to a doctor. Like, I will go to a doctor when I see it fit, when I'm ready to go to a doctor. And I'm not saying don't go to doctors. I'm just saying don't stop people from being able to research and do their own due diligence. I think that is the era that we're in. All right, so the longevity revolution isn't just for people with $25,000 to spend in an executive health clinic. It's for anyone with a smartphone and the last blood test their doctor ordered. Your body has been generating data about you your whole life. AI just learned how to read it. The question is whether you're going to look. Exactly. So, you know, I am due for a blood test pretty soon, and I'm thinking, I actually have a blood test from a year ago. I could probably use that just to start off and see what it says and then take it from there. But it's just, don't be lazy, you know, let's just get on our health. It's going to get better. It's going to get easier. And like I said, before you know it, we're going to have our own little in-home first aid medical robot kit, open sourced, that knows every possible medical thing that's ever existed, that's constantly updating itself against every other thing out there. I mean, it's going to change a lot of things very shortly. And with super intelligence, we're looking at longevity escape velocity, which I know it sounds crazy, but it might be actually theoretically possible that you could kind of live forever, theoretically. And that's just on the surface, based on not being a super intelligent entity, AI, that's actually figuring out even more crazy things, like how to upload your consciousness to a cloud or something, or, you know, whatever. But that's where we're going, guys. Super intelligence, general intelligence, it's coming, and it's not stopping. The cat's out of the bag. So subscribe. Let's keep going. Let's have fun with this. I will be doing anti-aging, and I will be looking at building some online businesses using AI. I'm in my 50s, and I just want to make this stuff work, and I want to stay on top of it. So join me as we try to figure this out. And don't really know what I'm going to do with this channel, but let's just see where it goes.